I'm just about to nip outside to perform a comparison of the E91 SE Touring, or more commonly known as the Standard Edition Touring, compared to the M Sport Touring. There is also the M version of the car. That will probably happen at some point next year. But at the moment we're going to go through the differences between a Standard Edition Touring and the M Sport. We're going to compare these two BMW Touring cars. I have two Touring BMWs. This is a 330i SE Touring. I also have a 325i M Sport Touring that I originally purchased as my cheap daily driver. We're going to have a look to see what the differences are. Looking at the front of the M Sport Touring, you can see this has far much more aggressive looking bumpers. It has the original halogen lights and the original boot. On the facelift version, this plastic is a continuous piece of metal, so they did improve the way that the car looks. If you compare it with the SE Touring, this looks far much more sedate. The front bumper doesn't look anywhere near as aggressive as the M Sport Touring. So there is the bumper for the M Sport Touring, and here you have the bumper for the SE Touring. The headlights are the upgraded bi-xenons. So on the first version of the BMW you had two different light options. These are the xenons that look terrific, and these are the halogen lights that are not as attractive. This is an option when you're speccing out the car. There are two other versions to these headlights. I'll be looking to upgrade the headlights on the M Sport Touring to the Diodoric bi-xenons. Forgot to mention that one of the options that you have are the headlamp washers, so that would open if you'd opted for the headlamp washers. There's also the option for front parking sensors, which this car doesn't have, and as you can see on the M Sport Touring, that doesn't even have the compartments for the headlamp washers. That don't really work that well, to be honest, but it's a nice option to have. And again, we don't have the front parking sensors. You tend to have those on a fully loaded M Sport. The major difference, if you're looking at the side of the car, tend to be the wheels. These aren't OEM wheels. The OEM wheels on this I replaced because they had cracks in the rear. The standard wheels that you get on the M Sport Touring are the MV3 193 alloys that are 18-inch, that come with run flat Bridgestones that are an excellent drive. This also has the M Sport suspension, which is far much stiffer than many complain, but I prefer. That is definitely noticeable when you drive the SE Touring. Now this has the original wheels that it came with, these 17-inch alloys that are dreadful for the car, if I'm honest. You definitely need 18 or 19-inch run flats to fully enjoy the ride on the car. So that is the major difference, really. If you look at the side of the car and the options obviously you can see this has some chrome lining that many tend to see as outdated. The M Sport has the black shadow lining all over, so that tends to be available on the M Sport trim. Looks far much sleeker and less of the 80s sort of chrome look. The side mirrors also are full gloss, and here you can see that's nice and glossy. These aren't the folding option, that's an additional option that you have. It is heated, so the mirror itself in the winter does melt the snow. This car does have the folding mirrors option. You can see here it's already started to fade. There's grey, it's not as nice as the M Sport Touring, and you can tell on the side of the car here, you'll see that there's this button here, and you can just press this here and you'll see that the mirror opens and closes. I don't have that option on the M Sport, which you'd think would be on the M Sport trim, but if you look through this door, it doesn't have that additional button, so you don't have the ability to fold the mirror, even though, as I said, the mirror itself is heated. The M Sport E91 had these 18-inch Bridgestones fitted on as standard. These are part of the M Sport package. These are the MV3 193 wheels that come fitted on the M Sport as standard. Another M Sport optional extra is the tinting on the windows. This does have some tinting, but it's nowhere near as good as the one on the M Sport. You can actually see clearly there's a boundary, and even though this is tinted, it doesn't look anywhere near as regal as the M Sport. I personally love this look with the black shadow line. It makes the car look very, very expensive, and also gives you privacy. So that is another optional extra on the M Sport, this black shadow line trim and window tinting. It's raining right now with low visibility. There's cloud cover everywhere. A lovely feature on the E91 is when you go to open the door, you have these lights at the bottom of the handles that increase visibility. A lovely feature in the dark. Looking at the difference, at the top of the car we have a panoramic sunroof. If I just open the car, you can control here at the top. There's a button, let me put the key in the ignition. So there we are, you just press this and it opens. All the way back, and then if I press it again, it actually slides open, and that's how you operate it. So let's have a look on the outside. So if you've got kids or a pet and you have a long journey, that adds a lot of light at the rear. The noise isn't so bad at all. This doesn't have that option, so less road noise when you're driving. So if I'm completely honest, once you've closed the panoramic sunroof, the road noise isn't at all bad. This is the rear bumper for the SE Touring that looks far much more sedate compared to the M Sport Touring that has a diffuser. This is just one contiguous piece of plastic with a ridge. Now when you compare that bumper with the M Sport one, you'll see that this really looks far much more classy with the rear diffuser. I would definitely upgrade the rear bumper to an M Sport 1 if I was keeping the car. The boot area for the SE Touring, not much difference at all, apart from this lining. This is grey, and you can see here this is all grey and doesn't look as good as the M Sport trim that's all black, grey and black. So we'll just have a quick look at the M Sport Touring. And so there, it's all black. Even this centerpiece here is black, and it just looks far much classier than the SE Touring. In terms of the boot space, there's no difference at all. If you have the folding seat option, you'll see here you can extend the amount of space you have by collapsing the seats. What you'll find are better door sills. So looking at this door sill on the SE Touring, it's pretty bland. It's one contiguous piece of plastic with BMW in silver. To be honest, this actually lasts far much better than the M Sport trim, but it does look demure and rather boring compared with the M Sport. We'll have a look at mine here, where it's got some staining that's pretty difficult to remove. These door sills cost a fortune. You're going to be paying around £1,000 to replace all 4 of these door sills, but they do look way better than the standard sills that you have on the SE Touring. Watching back through video footage of the comparison between the 2 touring cars, I just couldn't believe just how dirty this seat is. I don't have many of the cleaning materials, so I'm going to take this to an auto shop, a body shop, to get it detailed. E91 Touring is back from a valet. After reviewing the initial videos I recorded, I was disgusted at the state of these seats that were beyond dirty. I believe it's going to need another iteration or 2 of cleaning to get these 100%. The interior on the M Sport Touring is much nicer than the SE Touring. You have these M Sport seats. These are Alcantara, but they also come in Dakota leather. You can tell really this middle section here, once you see this middle bit that pulls out, then you know you've got the creme de la creme when it comes to BMW seats. These can be heated, and they can also have an electrical instead of a manual operator on the bottom there. So this is manual, but it can also be controlled electronically on the highest trim M Sports. The gear stick is an M Sport leather gear stick, where the SE Touring, it's a bit dull and grey. You've also got this M Sport steering wheel, and you have additions like the iDrive, where the center console you've got a controller. That tends to be the main difference. You can actually see that the door cards here also match the seat and the rear seats, which is quite nice, where the SE Touring tends to be standard leather. 325i designation is visible on the 325i Touring. 330i Touring designation isn't visible on the 330i, so you need to check. There's a label there that will display the designation. This is the engine for the 325i Touring. There's absolutely no difference by all accounts between the 330i Touring and the 325i Touring. They both have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cylinders. The major difference is this intake manifold that's configured differently on the 330i, but the engine for all intents and purposes is exactly the same. This engine has 255 brake horsepower. The 325i has 215 brake horsepower. If you're enjoying the content on this channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm.